Let me be direct about something. Most comparison videos about AI will tell you what sounds impressive, what makes for a good thumbnail, what gets the clicks. This is not that. I have spent serious time with both of these systems, not skimming them, not running a handful of demo prompts and calling it a test, actually working with them, on the kinds of problems that matter in real work. And what I found is more interesting than most people are reporting. Because the real story is not which one wins. The real story is that these two systems represent fundamentally different bets about what AI is actually for, and understanding that distinction is worth more than any benchmark number I could give you. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will know exactly which one belongs in your life, and why. Let me start with something most reviewers skip entirely: how these systems actually think. Not what they produce, how they think. Because the architectural differences between ChatGPT-5 and Grok 4 are not cosmetic. They reflect genuinely different philosophies about what intelligence is, and what it should do. ChatGPT-5 uses what OpenAI calls a unified architecture. At the core of it is an intelligent routing system. When you ask it something simple, it processes quickly. When you ask it something genuinely complex, it automatically allocates more computational depth. You don't control this. You don't need to. The system makes the judgment call about how much thinking your question deserves, and it makes that call well. The experience of using it is smooth, polished, consistent, like a senior professional who always delivers clean work, always on time, never surprising you in a bad way. Grok 4 is built on something completely different, a 2.4 trillion parameter mixture of experts architecture, which is roughly 5 times larger than typical models. But the size is not the interesting part. The interesting part is what Grok 4 Heavy does with that size. It literally spawns multiple AI agents to work on your problem simultaneously, like convening a panel of specialists, having them work in parallel, and then synthesizing what they each found into a single response. I tested this across everything from market analysis to complex strategic planning to technical research, and the difference in what comes back is not subtle. ChatGPT-5 gives you one highly optimized perspective. Grok 4 Heavy gives you something that feels like multiple expert viewpoints that have been pressure tested against each other before being presented to you. It is like consulting one brilliant advisor versus having an entire team of specialists working your problem simultaneously. Both have real value. They are just different kinds of value. Now let me talk about information, because this is where the philosophical difference between these two systems becomes most visible and most consequential for how you use them. ChatGPT-5 has excellent web search capability. It browses, it cites sources, it synthesizes information from across the web into well-organized responses. The experience is like being briefed by a thorough research analyst who has read everything relevant and organized it for you. Clean, reliable, well-sourced. Grok 4 was built from the ground up as a real-time intelligence system. It does not just search the web. It has direct access to X's live data stream, which means it is pulling social media sentiment, breaking news as it breaks, trending information as it trends in real time, not cached information from a few hours ago, not a summary of what was happening yesterday, what is happening right now. I tested this with rapidly evolving news stories and market movements. The difference is not about which system knows more. It is about what kind of knowledge you need. If you need well-researched context with reliable sourcing, ChatGPT-5 is the better experience. If you need to know the pulse of what is happening in real time, including the informal signals from social media that traditional news sources haven't caught yet, Grok 4 is in a completely different category for anyone tracking markets, following breaking situations, monitoring sentiment around a brand or topic. The real-time capability is not a nice-to-have. It is a fundamental difference in what the tool can do for you. Let me talk about reasoning, because the benchmark numbers are interesting, but what they actually mean for real work is more interesting. On humanity's last exam, which is 2,500 PhD-level questions designed to test the absolute upper limits of AI reasoning, ChatGPT-5 scored 24.8% in standard mode, 42% in its deep reasoning mode. Grok 4 standard came in at 25 to 26%. But Grok 4 Heavy with its multi-agent approach pushed to between 44 and 50%. That gap matters. But the number that really caught my attention was on the ARC AGI benchmark, which tests abstract pattern recognition, essentially measuring how close we are getting to general intelligence. Grok 4 Heavy set a new record at 16.2%, nearly double the next best model, and ahead of ChatGPT-5. Now, before you make too much of benchmark numbers, I want to say something honest. Benchmarks measure what benchmarks measure. They do not always translate directly into the kind of thinking that matters for your actual work. so I tested both systems on complex business simulations. Investment analysis scenarios, strategic planning problems with genuinely ambiguous inputs, and the depth of Grok 4 Heavy's multi-agent approach showed up in ways that the benchmarks predicted. The responses came back with angles I hadn't considered, tensions between different approaches that the system had identified and surfaced, the feeling of having actually stress-tested an idea rather than just gotten a single smart person's take on it. For complex analytical work, the difference is real and significant, because this is a domain where both systems are genuinely exceptional, but in ways that are different enough to matter for how you use them. ChatGPT-5 codes like a meticulous senior developer, production-ready, well-documented, proper error handling, careful explanations of what the code does and why. It is deeply integrated into GitHub Copilot and professional development workflows. If you need code that you can deploy with confidence, that your teammates can read and maintain, that follows professional standards, ChatGPT-5 is the more reliable choice. Grok 4 codes more like a brilliant person at a hackathon, fast, creative, sometimes taking novel approaches that the more conservative system would not consider. In my testing, Grok often delivered working code faster, but ChatGPT's solutions were more complete, more maintainable, more production-ready. If you are prototyping, if you need something working quickly to test an idea, if you want to see a creative approach to a problem, Grok 4 is often faster to something useful. If you need code that will actually live in production and be maintained by humans over time, ChatGPT-5 is the more disciplined choice. Neither is simply better. They are optimized for different stages of the development process. Now I want to talk about something that most comparison videos avoid, because it is genuinely complicated and easy to misrepresent in both directions. The filtering question. ChatGPT-5 has extensive safety guidelines. Ask it about genuinely controversial topics, about things that live in genuinely contested ethical territory, and you will often get a carefully crafted response that hedges, that presents multiple perspectives without committing to one, that feels sometimes like a press release more than an actual analysis. This is not always a problem. Sometimes careful hedging is exactly right, but for research where you need unvarnished analysis, for strategic planning where you need someone to tell you what they actually think, for complex decisions where you need genuine engagement with the difficulty, the hedging can be a real limitation. Grok 4 takes a fundamentally different approach. It engages more directly with difficult topics. It will tell you what it actually thinks. It treats you like someone capable of handling a real answer, rather than someone who needs to be protected from complexity. This has significant advantages for serious analytical work, and it created real problems at launch. Early versions produced genuinely offensive content when prompted in certain ways. XAI moved quickly to address this, and the current version is substantially better calibrated, but the underlying philosophy remains: more direct engagement, less corporate hedging. The practical implication is this: if you need a tool for general professional use, for content creation, for customer-facing applications, ChatGPT-5's guardrails are appropriate and useful. If you need a tool for serious research, for strategic analysis, for genuine intellectual engagement with difficult questions, Grok 4's more direct approach often produces better results. Let me talk about the creative tools, because this is an area where OpenAI has made significant moves recently, and the competition is genuinely interesting. OpenAI has integrated Sora into the ChatGPT-5 ecosystem, video generation from text prompts. The quality is genuinely impressive. Hollywood-level footage that would have cost thousands to produce, available through a text prompt. Combined with DALL-E image generation, ChatGPT-5 has become a fairly complete creative suite. XAI has launched Grok Imagine in response, powered by their Aurora image generation engine. It creates images and 15-second videos with native audio from text prompts. It generates quickly, under 90 seconds for video, and it takes a less restrictive approach to creative requests. What Grok Imagine will create that DALL-E and Sora will decline is a real difference for certain kinds of creative work. Whether that is a feature or a risk depends entirely on what you are trying to create. For polished professional creative output, ChatGPT-5 with Sora integration is currently the more refined experience. For speed, for accessibility, and for creative requests that other tools decline, Grok Imagine is genuinely competitive. And the fact that XAI has made it free for US users is a significant accessibility advantage. Here is the ecosystem reality, and this is practical, not theoretical. ChatGPT-5 is embedded in Microsoft Office, in Windows 11, in GitHub, in over 1,000 plugins. If you use professional software, there is a meaningful chance that ChatGPT-5 is already built into tools you use daily. The integration is not a feature you have to seek out. It is increasingly just there, in the workflow you already have. Grok 4 is centered on X and the broader ecosystem Elon Musk is building. The tight X integration means unparalleled real-time social data. The potential integrations with Tesla and other Musk ventures are not yet fully realized. But the direction is clear for users who are already deeply embedded in Microsoft's ecosystem. ChatGPT-5's integration advantage is real and significant. For users who live on X, who are tracking real-time information, who are interested in the broader ecosystem being built around it, Grok 4's integration story is compelling in a different way. Let me be direct about price, because it matters, and the comparison is not as simple as it looks. ChatGPT-5 has a capable free tier, $20 per month for Plus, $200 per month for Pro with unlimited access and enhanced reasoning. For most professional users, the $20 tier is genuinely useful. The $200 tier is for people who need the deepest capabilities regularly. Grok 4 requires X Premium Plus at minimum. $30 per month. No free option for the full experience. The Super Grok Heavy tier at $300 per month is for serious professional use, where the most advanced reasoning capabilities matter. Here is the honest price calculus. If you are comparing the entry-level options, ChatGPT-5 is more affordable. And for general use, the difference in capability at the entry level may not justify the price premium. If you are comparing at the high end, the $200 ChatGPT-5 Pro tier versus the Grok 4 Heavy tier, you are comparing genuinely different capabilities. And for the specific use cases where Grok 4 Heavy's multi-agent reasoning matters, the performance difference is real. Here is the honest conclusion. After serious testing across every category that matters for real work, these are not really competing products. They are fundamentally different bets about what AI is for. ChatGPT-5 is the reliable professional. It excels at everyday productivity, creative projects, integrated professional workflows, its polish, its safety guardrails, its ecosystem integration. Make it the right choice for business use, content creation, and general purpose assistance where consistency and reliability matter most. It is the model that just works, in most situations, with minimal risk. Grok 4 is in a different category. It is designed for people who need cutting-edge reasoning, real-time information, and direct engagement without corporate filtering. The multi-agent reasoning produces genuine advances in how complex analytical problems get worked. The real-time data integration is a fundamentally different capability. Not just better search, different in kind, and the philosophical commitment to treating users like intelligent adults, rather than people who need protection from complex information, shows up in the quality of analysis you get on genuinely difficult questions. My actual recommendation. For most people doing most things, ChatGPT-5 is the right primary tool. It is more affordable, more integrated into existing workflows, more consistent, and more appropriate for professional contexts where reliability and safety matter. For researchers, for analysts, for strategists, for people who need the deepest reasoning available on genuinely complex problems. Grok 4's capabilities justify the higher cost. The performance advantage on complex analytical tasks is real, and the real-time data integration is genuinely useful for specific kinds of work. And honestly, for the people doing the most serious work, having both is not a luxury. It is a sensible allocation of tools to tasks. ChatGPT-5 for daily productivity and professional content. Grok 4 for the complex analysis, where depth and real-time data actually change the output. The AI landscape is moving faster than most people realize. What is true today will be different by the end of this year. But right now, in this moment, this is the honest picture. Two extraordinary systems, built on different philosophies, for different kinds of work. The question is not which one wins. The question is which one is right for what you are actually trying to do. Now you know the answer.